Well, hello and welcome to CDO Magazine interview series. My name is Clyde Gillard. I'm the go-to-market leader for AI at HPE. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Eileen Smith, Senior Vice President, Data and Analytics at Cboe. So let's talk about AI, right? Let's talk about some of the use cases.
hmm
In my view, it truly has become disruptive because now you're driving insights and analytics. We
Yeah.
say that you go when we say AI, it can mean a number of different things. People think machine learning, people think generative AI. I've been talking a lot about agentic AI. So there's a lot to cover here. I guess first question is, what are your thoughts on how you see AI changing how Cboe supports its customers and runs its business? And there's a lot of flavors of AI we can talk
Yeah.
about, but just as an opening statement, how do you see AI working at Cboe, and how do you see it changing what you're doing?
Cool. So when we're talking about generative AI, I'm going to focus on that first. And I think what we've done so far is we're trying to figure out how to leverage it internally as much as we can, with all our data, with all of the internal information that we have, and supporting our internal customers and supporting our businesses as a whole to make sure that we're as efficient as we can be. So it's been a really fast journey. And if you'd asked me this question a year ago, I might have actually rolled my eyes and say, it's a little thing. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would have been wrong, but it's crazy how fast it changes, and how many different use cases there are, and how much better it gets. So I think for our business, we run exchanges. We're highly regulated. We're not going to be putting AI in our trading platforms, at least not anytime. Saying never is probably not the best thing, but at any rate, that's not where it's heading. But in helping our trade desks and our operations people service our customers, that's a huge benefit. It's helping us in the shorter term, help us sell some of our data and help us be, an interface for people and answer questions probably in some ways. Again, we're a conservative team, so we're making sure we're doing it right and doing it in the best way possible. But internally, it's already been a huge success. We've gotten a lot of new use cases, and we're focusing on it quite a lot in the company.
Yeah, certainly I don't want to say the safe thing to do, but the smart thing to do is, you solve a problem internally and you have a little more control over it, because the risk is if you face it externally, it's in the wild and almost anything can happen. So a
That's
number
right.
of organizations certainly look for productivity gains in HR, where
Mhm.
they control the data and they control the user base. So, smart move there. And um, when you looked at the use case, you kind of mentioned there was a lot of use cases. How do you prioritize your use cases? How do you take a look at all your options and say, okay, let's focus on that one and not on this one right now? Is there a methodology that you use?
Yeah. So what we did is we stood up an AI center of excellence on our team, and it's just a couple people. But what they did is they set up an internal chatbot that leverages pretty much all of our data. And we keep adding data sources and things like that as we go. But it can look at our trading data. It can look at our, internal documentation. It looks at all of our different places that we have documentation and things like that. And but it's set up so it can use all of those. And then we have an API for it. So what we can do is various more technical teams around the company can leverage the API to get at large language models and all the data. And so we have that set up, and then we have it set up so that people that don't have coding ability or don't have those kind of skills or don't want to do it can use the chatbots and things like that. So and then what we do is people come to us with ideas, and it's kind of a matter of where we think the biggest bang for the buck is, and where we put our resources. So, I mean, and it's also, some people come up with ideas quicker than others, so they get more attention than other people do. But we've had some really good wins there. One of them was we have a primary listing market, and we're leveraging AI to make sure our companies meet the listing standards, and it's a huge time saver. It's really amazing, and so that's been one huge one. Another win that resulted from our the ability to use our API, as well as one of the things we did in the company last year was do an AI Olympics, so that we could get people to come up with ideas. And the team that won was a networking team, and they get a lot of tickets and a lot of questions. And so they created this, they used AI to sort through the tickets and help them, increase their time to first response and their time to resolution. And just as a quick number, they increased their time to initial response by 98%, although that one's a little bit of a joke because the AI responds right away. But more importantly, their time to resolution is down 45% because AI helps categorize the tickets and helps get the tickets in the right place and saves the engineering resources from doing things that are easy, but now the engineering resources can do things that are hard. So that's been a huge success, and we're building a lot. We are in the team that created that are building a lot of other implementations based on that initial one.
Well, yeah, the two things I want to point at in that conversation, thank you, was one, you created a COE or a Center of Excellence, which is just a smart move. I talk to a lot of organizations in my role, and that's one of the first questions I ask. Did you start a COE? And if you didn't, you just are asking for a slower process. The other thing that you did, I thought was really cool, is the AI Olympics comment that you made. And, AI can be scary for your employee base. This kind of makes it more warm and friendly. It's not quite putting a mascot in front of it, but it's getting people to participate. And so that was really awesome. You gave some great use cases, which is good. I guess I'm looking at a timeline. What was the process in terms of months or years? I mean, how long did it take you for this process to go from AI Olympics to generating a use case to putting it in production? Walk me through the timeline on that.
So our team had been doing some experimenting in AI, and other teams had also been doing some experimenting in AI, but we really started the AI COE last fall. So it's been less than a year since we started it. And we were able to, like I said, stand up the internal chatbot. We stood up an HR chatbot working with AI. We've done quite a lot with it. It has access to a lot of data sources. The AI Olympics was also last fall. So that idea came about, and I think they've been working on it a bit, but it was changed quite a bit to use the tools that were created by the AI COE. And so that one, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months start to production on that probably. So it's been from my standpoint, a really fast process and a really kind of an exciting one. The other thing that we've done a lot of is education. And because, a development team is going to be, that's working on technology all the time is going to, more naturally be involved with these things, but the rest of the company somewhat less. So we've been doing a lot of education. We have about 1,600 people in the company, and we've educated over 1,000 of them formally, and then we work with different teams informally as well. So that's been an impressive effort to get people out there and thinking about what they can do with AI and how it can impact them.
That's, I was having a conversation a few weeks ago with an individual, and the challenge was, now you start this AI Olympics, you get people thinking about AI, and suddenly every line of business comes to you with 10 opportunities, like, oh, we want to apply AI here. Oh, we want to apply AI there. And in my discussions, sometimes you say, look, you don't need AI. You can do that with a spreadsheet. And,
Right.
you don't have the data to solve this with AI, or, that's a $1 million problem and a $10 million solution. That doesn't make any sense, right? So
Yep.
it really gets to the process of prioritizing these projects. And I love how you've mined your own employee base, which is great. As a management team, is there a methodology that you use to sort of prioritize these projects? If many other organizations are struggling with the same thing, where do I get started? How did you decide this was the best one? And do you have senior management support? And is there an internal senior level kind of process that you follow for AI ideas?
Yeah. So our senior team is extremely excited about AI, and it even recommended everybody incorporate it into their goals for 2025 to have some piece to learn more about AI or to use it in their goals. So I think that was a huge win for the AI COE to get people excited about it. I think the prioritization process is, I'm going to say at this point, still more art than science. And the good thing is like I said, it's not just the 3 or 4 people that are dedicated to the AI COE doing this. A lot of different groups are doing it. So I mentioned at the beginning, we our team owns the client engagement software. So there's a lot of opportunity in AI and client engagement side. So the people that run the client engagement software are working with the AI COE and working with the business users to kind of come up with ways to mine all that data. And so I think there's a lot of scaling in the company taking place because of that, and because we're trying to make the tools centralized, giving people the ability to use them is much more effective than trying to do it all ourselves. So I think the combination of all that, and then there are going to be always going to be scenarios where you're working on something and you can't work on the next one, but we try to keep all of it in the air and moving, and so far we've been able to. We're starting to get to the place where there's more ideas than there are resources, which is like really actually a great place to be.
Thank you for joining me today. And also, if you like this kind of interview, please visit cdomagazine.tech and look for other insights from these kinds of conversations. So again, thank you so much. And
Thank you. Pleasure.